One of the best things about Excel is that it lets you deal with really large amounts of data. In fact, if you needed to, you could have billions of cells in a single spreadsheet. But no matter how much data you have, it can still be surprisingly easy to manage using a very special feature called PivotTables. PivotTables let you summarize and manipulate the data without changing the original spreadsheet. If you've never used them before, they might seem a little bit intimidating at first, but once you get the hang of it, you'll be able to easily make PivotTables using just a few mouse clicks. In this example, I have some company sales data, and there are columns for salesperson, region, account, order amount, and month. And I need to answer the question, what is the amount sold by each salesperson? Now, because each salesperson appears on multiple rows, I would need to add up the rows to find the answer. But a pivot table can do this automatically. You'll first need to select the data. If it's formatted as a table, you can just click any cell, and if it's not, you'll just need to make sure that you select everything, including the column headers. And then from the Insert tab, click the Pivot Table command. And you'll usually want to place the pivot table in a new worksheet. And click OK. Over on the left is our blank pivot table, and on the right is the field list. All of these field names are just taken from our column headers. Below that are the 4 areas where we can add fields to build the pivot table. Now, before we select any of the fields, let's look at the original question again. What is the amount sold by each salesperson? This question tells us exactly which fields we need to use to answer it: salesperson and order amount. When you click these, they will be added to the row labels and values areas below. And now on the left, we have a pivot table where we can see the amount sold by each salesperson. So now our original question has been answered, and if we want, we can modify the pivot table to answer more questions. If we want to know how much each person sold each month, we can drag the month field into column labels, and this will add columns for each month. Or if we wanted to know how much each region sold, we could just take the month and salesperson fields out and then drag region into row labels. So each time we change the field, the pivot table is just combining and adding the source data in a different way to give us the answer that we need. You can experiment by dragging the fields into different areas, but you may find that some combinations don't work as well. For example, if I move order amount to column labels or row labels, it doesn't really give me any useful data. Since order amount contains numerical values, it really works best in the values field. Finally, if you click on the order amount field and go to Value Field Settings, you can change the function so that instead of calculating the sum, it can count the cells or find the average. And there are many other functions that you can use. In part 2, we're going to talk about report filters, and we'll also talk about how to add slicers and pivot charts, which will give you even more ways to manipulate the pivot table.
Like what you just saw? Rate it.
Add a comment.
Subscribe to our channel.
The freedom to learn.
What you want, when you want.
Absolutely free.
GCF LearnFree.org